God showed in Revelation chapter 6, once that black prophet arrived, once you see him and you begin to know him, then you know the time is at hand for the pale horse. And that pale horse represents total destruction. World War III is after this black prophet, which will become the pale horse. I mean, continue to write. Read this here. Daniel chapter 7. This is the pale horse. The CIA, the horn with the little eyes, is the pale horse. He is the one who's going to take control. He said he plucked up 3 of the first horns, which I gave you. Those 4 horns belong to the United States of America. Number 9, chapter Daniel 7:9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of the Day did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head was like pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. Stop right there. Remember St. Matthew 24. As it was spoken of by Jesus Christ to his disciples. He said, Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, see you not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. These was the words of Jesus. It tells us out of the Ancient of the Day, and the horns, out of this horn came the Ancient of the Day, that the thrones, let me make sure I read this here, 9, I beheld till the thrones. Thrones is the governmental body. Saddam Hussein was one of the thrones. He became a symbol. He became a stone of the temple. Were cast down, and the Ancient of the Day is said. It means the United States of America and the United States, and the United Nations, completely taking away the leadership, the God of God's people, of the choice of the people, and replaced it with a democratized mindset, a man who considered only the United States of America. These became the servants of the United States of America. Every stone of the temple was now cast down. These men became the tabernacle of the United States of America. All of the new governmental body, instead of serving God, they served the way of the United States of America. They became a democratized system. These was part of the tariff that they went in, Alexander the Great, and interbreeded in with these people and became a part of the habitat. So when America went in, they looked for that seed which they had interbreeded when Alexander the Great went there and growed up, and considered them as part of the seed of Abraham. That's why you see a dilution and the pigmentations of the house of Abraham, because they went in and exterminated all the black peoples and interbreeded in with these peoples and created sons and daughters in the house of Abraham, which became part of the wheat bound in which we do in the tariff, and God could not separate them because they was genetically altered peoples, because they had fathers who was a Gentile going in the name of Israel and going in the name of the seed of Abraham. This is what you have. And when they go in and find that genetic trait, who is of Alexander the Great, who is a part of this, God told you that they were growing, wheat was growing with tare. But when God made it possible for these people to become a part of the habitat, the whole world, if we become circumcised. And the only way you can become circumcised, you have to do away with the law of the world and go to the law and obey the law and the commandments of Moses. Because when before Jesus departed and went to his Father in heaven, spoken of in St. John or John in chapter 15, he spoke to his disciples and said, "Go and make disciples of me." Go into the world and make disciples of the men, because he knew that he was, when his death, when Jesus' death was finished, he was making it possible for those who was not in the book of life to be counted in number as sons and daughters of God. These were the Gentiles. What they did was, some of them accepted the blood of Jesus, and others looked at him in frown. These are the ones who would try and go and exterminate every last person in the world, deprive them of the true gospel, using demonic mind men who preach the gospel from the lip only, but they be ruled, governed by the price of money. These are the ministers that God sent me to testify in front of, who have transgressed against God of the earth. Because of the lack of knowledge, many have been lost because of the ministers, because of their fear. Why take the plow if you know your intent is to plow with vain purpose, to cultivate that which is not holy and place it under the name of holiness, depriving God out of his harvest? This is why God sent me. He brought me all the way through time. I live by the spirit of Moses, which I have shown throughout my ministry as I speak to the world. I am unknown to me, but I did my utmost best to get this out there for people to look and hear me and see what I'm talking about. This part here, right here, comes to close. Daniel chapter 7. You can read the rest of it and you'll see where the little horns taken over the world. The CIA, with a few people through deception, taken over the world, and he spoke great things against God. It tells you in Daniel chapter 7. I'm going to let you read that part for yourself, because recording on this YouTube, I have to make the best of my recording to drive to get that. I can't have time to go completely through this. I'm going to stop trying to make DVDs, but first I must be known. If I can get this out and be known, I'm not trying to do this to exalt myself, but to get the words of God for you, it's like it. There are peoples who don't know the truth, who need to hear the truth. We have ministers out there, and I do not apologize for what I'm saying, because this is a serious matter. We have to know the truth. We've seen the things that happened in Texas. God have his way of doing things. As if the peoples tried to insult the nations by sending them over there to make war against that nation. They're not trying to insult the nation, but trying to insult God when they take a seed of Abraham, because he's under the authority of this place, and send him over there to fight against his brother. He's not fighting against his brother, but he is taking and using this man to take and use the law of democracy to fight against the daily sacrifice, which is the law of Moses, trying to kill the law of Moses. America is not over there to liberate anybody. It's over there to create a genocide and blasphemy against God, because they hate God. They despise him. As spoken of in St. John, say they despise him. Because they know that Jesus here, and the witness preparing the way for the return of Jesus, and he will come. Thank you. Have a